Colin McRae continued to drive absolutely flat out, with another fastest time delighted his fans, even though his earlier spin had set him back in 4th place. "31-year-old Welsh farmer David Llewellyn saw his first Lombard RAC for Nissan end on the 16th stage, after a fault in the main electrical cutout switch. The crew frantically searched to find the problem, but eventually they retired out of time. And the popular bus driver Gwyndaf Evans in a Ford Cosworth suffered his 3rd crash of the day on the same stage. The car was badly damaged and his rally was over. So just how bad were the conditions in Wales? Our camera on board the Mitsubishi Galant of Timo Salonen gives some idea. Mark Dewitt of Belgium was lying 15th in his Toyota Celica and holding his own in these conditions, whilst the young Finn Tommy Mackinnon in a Mazda had had punctures, a series of spins and continuing gearbox problems, but he still held on to 17th overall. 23-year-old Scott Robbie Head had completed one stage in 3rd gear after breaking the gearbox, and he'd had 2 punctures. But he was still chasing the Group N or showroom class awards in his Cosworth. And top lady Louise Aitken-Walker lost time when she stopped to help Malcolm Wilson after his breakdown, and held on to 18th overall.
How was that then?
Absolute a nightmare.
Why?
It's such a good stage. It's such a good stage to drive on, and you're going no problem. And then all of a sudden, just this grease will hit you on one corner and just cuts you out, you know.
The final stages proved disastrous for Oriol. He'd held the lead for 4 stages, but a spin on the second last cost him the overnight lead. That went to Carlos Sainz, who now rests overnight in Chester with a 12-second advantage. And the final stages were unlucky for Kankkunen. His front differential broke at the end of the 19th stage, but he's still 3rd overall. Francois Delacour had been lying 9th when he had an unfortunate experience in Penmachno.
The problem with the extinctor, after a big jump, the extinctor is common in the car.
The fire extinguisher?
Yeah, the fire extinctor, and the engine cut. Impossible to continue, and I lose 2 minutes.
But another superb day for Colin McRae, a taste of the leadership, and he capped it with fastest time on the final stage of the day.
It was darkness when the cars came into Wales this morning, and it's pitch black again now when they're leaving. It's been a day of mud, glorious mud, and this final control of the day is no exception.
Not the last stage, the stage before, I go little off the road because I arrive in the long left. In the finish, it's mad, maximum mad, and I don't know that. And the car understeering, and I go little off the road, and I come back. And after I say, okay, it's too much difficult. It's too easy to do big mistake here with the mud, and I prefer to try to finish for this evening.
Dear, what happened, Mickey?
I rolled.
How long were you off the road?
Then 2-3 laps. Okay, it's happened.
So how much time have you lost?
I retired.
You're out?
Yeah,
Oh dear, very sorry to lose you. What sort of a day have you had, Carlos?
Long day. No, okay, we have only 1 puncture and we ran 1 kilometer only. It was 1 kilometer to the end of one stage, so we didn't lose so much time and everything is working okay.
It's been a very close battle, hasn't it, today?
It has been, yeah, and still it will be.
So at the end of day 2, Carlos Sainz had taken over the lead, with the Lancias of Oriol and Kankkunen snapping at his heels. But just look at the top 8 cars. 1 Toyota, 2 Lancias, 3 Subarus, 2 Mitsubishis. Talk about the dominance of the Japanese. That brings us to day 3, the toughest and longest of the entire rally. 12 special stages in the Lake District and the giant Kielder Forest, 151 stage miles. Alan Douglas again.
Frenchman Didier Auriol made his intentions clear right from the start. On the opening stage, he took 5 seconds off the world champion Sainz and another 28 seconds on stage 2, but he found the going very slippery. Kankinen played it cautiously in the deceptive conditions. The track appeared dry in parts, but coverings of pine needles created the effect of black ice. And it was a combination of the camber and the treacherous surface which led to McRae's major mishap. These pictures, shot by Top Gear viewer Jonathan Brown from Clitheroe, show the car is stuck fast. But with plenty of muscle power around, co-driver Derek Ringer gets out to direct the operations. There's nowhere to drive the car out. The only option is to take it back the way it came and roll it back onto the road. With the in-car camera of Timo Salonen, we can see how quickly McRae came to grief. He'd gone only 25 seconds into the stage on the 5th bend. The Subaru is emerging, but still can't get traction. And that's Blomqvist almost pushing the car off again. But with the added weight, McRae is sent on his way.
How far in the stage was it?
Just very near the start. Just a fast left over a crest, then a very tight right, and we didn't have a caution in the notes, and we just slid a bit wide. Very hardly off the road at all, and it was just a big ditch, and it rolled over into the ditch.
Emergency repairs at the end of the stage, and McRae proved he hadn't lost his nerve by setting second fastest time on the next stage. And after Collins' crash, McRae's bend claimed other victims. And things weren't going much better for teammate Marco Allen. He was caught out on a slippery right-hander on Wither.
Had a bit of a problem this afternoon.
Well, in the problem is coming my side, I lost my car control and I am, rolling, yeah.
Did that lose much time?
Yeah, spectators is working really hard and thank you for spectators, but, I am 2 down and taking 5 minutes I am back in Rally Road.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Absolutely, my mistake.
Louise Aiken-Walker had her right hand bandaged after the effort of gear changing the day before, and she was unhappy. My mother could drive better, she said.
Into flat right, into care left. Opens flat left over crest, continues, 70.
The conditions in the Lake District were treacherous. It's home territory for Dave Metcalf in the Nova, but even he found it hard and exciting work.
Continues, 70.
And there's been quite a battle going on in the Class Honours too, with several changes of leadership. By Kielder, Class N1 was being led by Stuart Harrington in his Peugeot, while N2 had been led for most of the day by Stephen Green in a very distinctive Nova GTE. In N3, Guy Anderson had taken control in another Peugeot, and Czechoslovakian Pavel Sabira led A5 in his works Skoda. Richard Burns was the leading driver in A7 in his work-centred Peugeot 205.
But Kielder once again lived up to its reputation. Sainz survived, but only just, and his chances of retaining the world title slipped with every stage. Others weren't so lucky. Didier Auriol crashed out, having led throughout the 7 Kielder stages. McRae, having survived in Grisdale, went off again, but this time he stayed where he was, perched on a deer fence, so his fine storming drive had come to an end. His teammate Arlen was also a victim of Pundershaw. His Subaru ground to a halt after the turbo caught fire. And Kielder also claims Stig Blomqvist, struck by bad luck in Rigsdale, after ironically the wishbone broke on his Nissan.
Carlos, what's the position then?
I don't know, because in the last stage we lost 3 minutes.
You've lost time with this with the head gasket.
Yeah, we have to change the head.